So here's a story that honestly feels like a puzzle. It's about a country that literally had it all and then just chose to throw it away. We're diving into a real economic mystery here. How did a nation, once on track for greatness, get stuck in this endless loop of just spectacular collapse? Yeah, we're talking about Argentina. I mean, it's a question that has just stumped economists for, what, 100 years? Think about it. How does a country with every single advantage you could ask for? We're talking amazing farmland, a well-educated population, tons of natural resources. How does it keep ending up right on the edge of complete disaster? And let's be clear, this isn't about bad luck. This is a story about choices. Really bad ones. Okay, to really get how big this fall from grace was, you've got to see where they started. Picture this. It's the early 1900s. Argentina isn't just doing well, it's a global powerhouse. Richer than France, richer than Italy. I mean, top 10 in the world. Now fast forward to today, what's it famous for? Well, something totally different. It's known for defaulting on its debt, over and over again. It's a place where economic crisis isn't an event, it's just the way things are. All right, so to really feel the tragedy, we've got to understand the dream first. Let's rewind the clock to a time when Argentina wasn't a warning, but a place everyone wanted to be. And the Paris of South America? That wasn't just some catchy slogan. No way. The city was just dripping with wealth. You had these incredible marble opera houses, beautiful, wide boulevards. The whole infrastructure was on par with any major European capital. It was like the physical proof, right there, in stone and steel, that Argentina had made it. So what was the secret sauce? How did they get so rich? Well, the engine behind it all was surprisingly simple. The Pampas, their massive fertile plains. Argentina basically became the world's farm and its butcher shop. They were shipping enormous amounts of grain and beef to a hungry, industrializing Europe. Money from abroad just flooded in, and their currency, the peso, was backed by gold. It was rock solid, as good as any currency on the planet. But here's the thing, when your entire fortune is built on such a narrow foundation, it can be really, really fragile. And once that foundation started to crack, a totally new way of thinking took over in politics. A way of thinking that would, well, define Argentina for the next 100 years. And then came the Great Depression. It just completely shattered that dream of exporting their way to riches. Suddenly, the world stopped buying, and Argentina's economy just imploded. But you have to understand, this wasn't just about money. It was a psychological blow. The old way was broken. And in all that chaos, the country started looking, desperately, for a savior, some kind of quick fix to get the good times back. And that savior showed up all right. His name was Juan Perón. And he figured out something incredibly powerful and incredibly dangerous. You can use the money printer as a political weapon. He just gave the people exactly what they wanted. Higher pay, huge subsidies, a massive welfare state, and how'd he pay for it? Easy. He burned through the nation's savings and then just printed more money. Suddenly, the economy wasn't about creating wealth anymore. It was about holding on to power. So that model Perón created, it started a pattern that pretty much became an addiction. This vicious cycle of boom, bust, and bailouts that, honestly, Argentina has been trapped in ever since. This addiction, it was about to become a national ritual. Just look at this. 9 times they've defaulted on their national debt. Some people even say it's 10. Each one of those dates represents a moment of absolute national trauma. It's the point where all the promises just evaporate and the bill finally comes due. It's just a staggering, unbelievable record of failure. So what do you think happens when a government just keeps printing money to solve its problems? Well, you get this. 3,000%. By the late 80s, hyperinflation hit 3,000%. What does that even mean? It means your entire life savings could be wiped out. Not in years, not in months, but in weeks. It completely destroyed the whole idea of working hard and saving for the future for an entire generation. You know, after a while, the chaos actually became predictable. It turned into this bizarre 5-step dance that everyone knew the moves to. First, you have the crisis. The economy just implodes. Step 2, the bailout, usually from someone like the IMF. That leads to step 3, a short-lived recovery. Then comes my favorite part, step 4, denial. Leaders go out and say, don't worry, this time is different. And then, like clockwork, step 5, another devastating collapse. So, in the 90s, they tried something really radical. They legally pegged their currency, the peso, 1-to-1 with the US dollar.
and for a while it seemed like a miracle. It killed hyperinflation overnight. But it was a trap. See, the government couldn't just print money anymore, so to keep up the appearance of being rich, what did they do? They borrowed dollars, billions and billions of them. And when the credit card was finally maxed out, the whole system just shattered. That led to the massive historic default in 2001.
But, these are not just numbers on a chart or headlines in a newspaper. This cycle has a real, profound human cost. So let's talk about that. What is it actually like to live in a place where your money is basically melting in your hands? Okay, first thing you learn is that there are two kinds of money. You've got the official government peso, and then you have this, the dollar blue, the blue dollar. That's the black market rate. It's what a US dollar really costs on the street. It's the number that tells you how much people actually trust the economy. And believe me, everybody knows this number. And to get these blue dollars, you go to what are called cuevas, which literally means caves. They're these little hidden exchange houses that are like the world's worst kept secret. And this isn't some shady back alley thing for criminals. It's a totally normal part of daily life. It's a survival skill for an entire country that has learned it absolutely cannot trust its own money. And this quote, man, it just says it all, doesn't it? Every Argentine has become their own central bank. People are forced to be their own financial managers every single day. They have to think like Wall Street traders, constantly trying to outsmart their own government's policies just to protect the little bit they have before the next crisis hits. And this chart right here, this is what that total lack of trust looks like. When nobody believes in the peso, where do they put their money? Well, you can see it right here. They hoard physical US dollars. They buy property. They buy anything, any hard asset that the government can't just print more of. The actual national currency, it's treated like a hot potato. Get rid of it as fast as you can. Now, it is so tempting to look at all this and think, wow, that's a crazy, uniquely Argentine story, a weird little anomaly down in South America. But what if it isn't? What if what we're looking at is actually a warning for all of us? And right on cue, this cycle starts all over again. The very latest chapter is this massive bailout package from the United States. The goal? To stabilize the economy under the new government. Sounds familiar, right? On the surface, it's just another rescue plan. But we know what it really is. It's step 2 in the ritual.
But let's be real. The true goal here is probably geopolitical. This is less about genuinely fixing Argentina's economy and a lot more about keeping China's influence from growing in America's backyard. And if history has taught us anything, it's that this money isn't going to fix the root cause of the problem. It's just going to kick the can down the road and postpone the next collapse.
The real damage, though, it goes so much deeper than just debt. It's like a slow-acting poison that gets into the very soul of a country. Constant inflation completely destroys your ability to plan for the future. I mean, why bother? It pushes the smartest, most talented people to just leave. A massive brain drain. And maybe worst of all, it completely shatters the trust between the people and, well, everyone in charge. And this, right here, is the absolute key to the whole thing. If you remember one thing, make it this. Argentina's problem has never been a lack of stuff, not a lack of resources, not a lack of money. Its problem is a total, complete, century-long loss of credibility. The financial culture itself is just broken, and no amount of bailout money is ever going to fix that. Which leaves us with a final and pretty unsettling question. As we see countries all over the world piling on record amounts of debt and relying more and more on printing money to pay the bills, is Argentina's story really just some isolated failure, or is it a preview, a glimpse into the future of what happens when political convenience always wins out over economic reality? Maybe Argentina just got there first.